I can't buy the air I breathe. I can't buy the trees. I can't buy the deepest seas. But it don't matter, 'cause they're there for free.
Hello and welcome to Around the World in 88 Tales. And today I'm in the museum in Exeter, the Royal Albert Memorial Museum, and I'm with, because of the magic carpet, I'm with Laura Ballesio. Hi Laura.
Hi.
And you're in Turin in Italy.
Yes, I'm from Turin.
And Around the World in 88 Tales comes from the Royal Albert Memorial Museum, which is here in Exeter. It's a project I'm doing in partnership with the museum. Here's the museum. And, well, Laura, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself? And please, people, if you're with us in the Facebook live event, whether you're here live or with the recording, tell us about yourselves. Where are you? And who are you? Laura.
Well, I'm a primary school teacher and a part-time storyteller. I love to tell stories to kids, and I use stories also to teach. So, because I think stories are the perfect tool to communicate to the children. And well, I'm really proud to be here because I love the RAM collection. I love the RAM artifacts. I found they are really inspiring. And that particular project is wonderful to bring the youngster to discover all the treasures of the museum.
Thank you so much, Laura. It's wonderful that you're here. And I'm going to share an object from the World Cultures collection. It's an incredible object. It's a skull.
Wow.
Can you see? This is a
Yes.
skull, and it's been sculpted, modelled. We call it a modelled skull. It's an ancestor skull. So compacted mud or clay and straw and wood have been added to this female skull, and obviously it's got great power. And this is, as I said, an extraordinary object. It comes from Papua New Guinea.
Okay.
And there's a lot that the museum don't yet know about this skull. They're doing research to find out more. But today I've got another skull that I'm holding, which is not quite so. There we are.
Whoa.
I'm going to put it like this here so we can see this lovely skull. And I'm going to tell a story, Laura. And when I finish my story, please respond with another story that you're inspired to tell.
Okay.
So my story that I'm telling doesn't come from Papua New Guinea, it comes from Nigeria. It comes from West Africa. Okay, so the north of Nigeria, the Nupe people tell this story. You can help me tell it, actually, Laura.
Mm-hmm.
There was a hunter. The hunter went into the mountains and hunted all day long, but he found and caught nothing. Finally, he came to a cave. He went into this deep, dark cave he had never seen before. And there in the cave, he met a skull. And the skull spoke. What brought you here? The young man asked the skull. What brought you here? And the skull answered, talking brought me here. The young man left the cave. He went down from the mountain to the village, and he found the chief. Oh, great chief of the village. In the mountains there's a cave, and in the cave there's a skull, a talking skull. The skull talked to me. Nonsense, said the chief. How could a skull talk? It's true, O great chief. Come and find out for yourself. It's a talking skull. It will greet you. It will talk to you. No, said the chief. I will send my guards. So many guards went with the young hunter. The king said to them, if he is telling the truth, bring the skull. If he is telling a lie, cut off his head. Well, the young hunter went up the mountain, followed by the guards. And when they came to the cave, the young hunter led them inside. And there, in the cave, they found the skull. The hunter said, Skull, tell me, talk to me, speak to me. But the skull was silent. Skull, what brought you here? The skull said nothing. The guards began to laugh. They took out their long, sharp knives. They cut off the young hunter's head, and they pulled his headless body out of the cave. They went back down the mountain. Back in the cave, the skull faced the hunter's head. What brought you here? The hunter's head answered, talking brought me here. Oh, Laura, this is a lesson for storytellers.
Shut your mouth.
Talk too much. We're in danger of talking too much, don't you think?
I know.
I'm just gonna look and see if anybody. I'm looking at the Facebook. If anybody's. Oh, Rashidat is in Nigeria. My friend Rashidat, who's part of this project, and says, "Awesome story." Yes, I know it. She says, "I know this story. Fantastic. Lovely to see you, Rashidat." Ah, fantastic. Laura, I've told you the story. Is there a story that my story or this skull makes you think of that you would like to tell in response?
Yes, there is a story from Siberia. Siberia, yes.
Siberia.
Siberia, it is a spirit stories like this one. Yes, in the northern of Russia. Yeah. And it is a story from the Chuckchi people who are nomads and who live in tents called yurta. And many years ago, there was a girl who lived with her elder parents in a yurta near a big lake. And one day, walking in the tundra, that girl stepped into something. And looking, she saw among the grass a human skull. That skull had a grin, like an odd smile. And she brought that skull to her tent. Their parents slept in a separated area, so she have a little area in a private space. She put the skull in there, and she covered it with a cap she just finished knitting the day before. And when she saw the skull with the strange green, with the strange cap, she giggled. But the skull giggled back. But she was not scared. She thought that she made a friend. There are not a lot of people for a teenager to make friends too in the tundra. So she started to cheer the skull. And the mother asked, "What are you looking for?" "Nothing, Mama," said the girl. That things went again for several days. Until one morning, the girls went outside to take a walk. And his mom went into her private side of the yurta, took away the cap, and saw the human skull. "Ah!" cried the mother, horrified, and she ran for her husband and said, "Our daughter was hiding that." "Ah!" said the father, "Our daughter has grown in something monstrous. She's possessed by an evil spirit. We have to abandon her and to run away. So tomorrow you will bring that monstrous daughter gathering wood, and then we abandon her." And that was because the day after, the mother asked the girl to came with her to gathering firewood, and they went to the tundra. And when they are working like this, the mother said, "I forget something to our tent. Just wait me here." And she left. And the girl waited and waited and waited. And then she came back to the camp, but she found everything dismantled. And she saw in the lake her parents on a canoe. They are sailing away. No, she ran, she ran. She entered the water. But her father, her own father, struck her with the paddle and sent her into the muddy water. And the only thing she can do is watching tearfully her parents going away. She come back to the empty camp, and the only thing left was the skull with the cap. She take the skull. You monstrous things! It's all your fault!" And she fall down, let fall down the skull and start kicking it. "Wow!" said the skull. "Well, can you please stop kicking me? Just listen for a moment. Listen to me." The girl stood. "If you throw me in the fire, I can change my shape. But you had to watch the fire and not watch anything else until the fire becomes cinder." The girl, knowing that he has nothing left to lose, set up a fire and throw the skull into the fire. And then she sit down and stared at the blazing flame. Suddenly, a strong wind came out, and howling spirits started to call her name. She also feels something that was pulling him, but she stared directly to the fire until the fire became cinder. And when the fire died up, she heard a caravan approaching. And only then she looked up, just to say a very handsome man all dressed in precious reindeer furs, smiling at her. And that man set up a camp and invited her to his tent. And they became husband and wife. And that's the story of the laughing skull.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's a Siberian story, The Laughing Skull. What an incredible story. And Laura, that was fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic. Remember, you can comment, you can ask questions in the chat on Facebook Live. Wow! And even if you're watching the recording, you can still because I'll be checking as well. So that's wonderful, Laura. Absolutely incredible.
It is an happy end, so it is not so bad, that skull. I wonder if the handsome man is the skull or not.
I was wondering whether he transformed. I think so, don't you?
I don't know if it's
some kind of spell that was broken.
Yes. Maybe the handsome man is the skull himself.
Perhaps. How did this story come to you, Laura?
I'm passionate about Asian folk tales, and I'm doing some research on Silk Road folk tales.
Yes.
This is a bit northern of the Silk tales, so I can't put it into my Silk Road collection, but I love that tale. I think it's worth telling.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to say goodbye to the skull.
Bye-bye. If I'm looking for an husband,
a real skull. I'm just telling you, this is a man-made skull. Goodbye to the skull.
Okay.
Put it over there. Thank you so much, Laura. That was absolutely wonderful. I'm just going to look at the comments here. You tell it so well. I can't believe the parents would abandon their daughter. So harsh. What a brilliant story. Nice one. Oh, here's a question. Did the skull turn into the handsome man? So that's the question we're left with.
I think so, but the story is not so clear about that. I think so. The handsome man is the skull himself.
We have to do some more research into Siberian folk traditions and shamanism. Fantastic. Well, Laura, with that, I would like to say thank you so much. And there'll be another story share starting very, very soon. So don't go away. And goodbye, Laura.
Goodbye.
The trees. I can't buy the deepest seas, but it don't matter, 'cause they're there for free.